right. Okay, definitely not me. I'm emotionally compromised.
Ashley, why don't you do it? Because you weren't with us last time, so you didn't get to intro any of the previous episodes.
You weren't with us.
I was not. I was too busy with clients. Those darn people.
Don't make it sound like... She makes it sound like she was so busy. I was too busy with clients. It was one client. You were busy.
Yeah, that needed all my attention.
All right. Can you intro the show, please?
Which one are we doing?
We're doing Script Sins. This is Script Sins Part 3.
By Alyssa.
It's still a new script on the block, right?
Yeah.
Is that the segment?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
New Script on the Block is the show, but we're doing another episode of Script Sins.
Got it. Okay. Hey guys, it is a new episode of New Script on the Block. Today we are doing Script Sins, another episode of Script Sins. And with me are Alyssa Eshelman, Nero Manalo, and Graham Pritchard. We are all coasting together.
Coasting? I'm glad that we carried that on.
That's the only thing I want to carry on.
It's like a new episode?
Yeah.
Is that the correct verbiage?
What do you mean?
Like, what if it's, like, not new to them?
But it is
like they're
new
re-listening to the episode?
Yeah.
Oh,
Do
well
we?
then.
Thanks for...
Hello to our 5 listeners.
Our five
Thank you for
regular
joining us
listeners,
again.
Yeah.
And also re-listening to this,
Yeah.
you know, for maybe the 4th or 5th time.
Hey, look,
Thanks,
I've
guys.
re-listened to especially on the Script Sins, because, you know what I mean? Like, I'll forget which Script Sins we've already done, so...
Oh, well,
High feature
that's the
Alyssa.
only reason you're listening to them. All right.
It's a logistical purpose.
Okay.
I guess. Not because you enjoy the banter or anything, but because, you know, you want to make sure that...
Yeah.
Oh, okay, got it.
We absolutely
Cut
will.
what out?
God damn it, Nero.
You should
We'll
end
cut
it.
right
yeah.
on that.
When I say cut what out.
That's what we'll do.
Cool.
All right. Okay, so we are doing Script Sins. I have 25 new Script Sins that we have not already covered. I'm going to...
25.
Yeah, I know.
There's that many?
I'm
People are
going to
dumb.
put them into the Randomize app and pull a number at random, and then we will take turns reading them out loud and then discuss.
Can we, like, also, like, say
zero
if
is
we've
not
done
helpful.
I was going
If
to say...
we've done that
what?
thing,
it? Yeah.
yeah, I can guarantee I've done pretty much all of these, I'd be sure.
Oh, shit. Especially that guy who wrote the Boondock Saints. Fuck that movie.
Oh my god.
We're talking
No
about
reason why I brought that up.
Look, I agreed with Ryan. I said, because he made me watch it because it was St. Patrick's Day. And so I said, okay.
Is there something
your
about
reason?
St. Patrick's Day that...
Well, the story starts on St. Patrick's Day, like the first day of events.
It's a
in
very
Boondock
Irish
Saints.
movie.
And the two main characters are Irish.
She
in
says
quotations.
that with quotations.
Yeah. Anyway, and then I made him watch Friday the 13th on Friday. Not this year. I didn't do it again this year. But last year I made him watch Friday the 13th on Friday the 13th because Alyssa normally watches the original Friday the 13th every Friday the 13th.
Did he like it? Was that a good
No,
experience?
of course he did not like it.
He didn't like it?
I don't know what's wrong with him.
Well, what it sounds like is just he was just getting back at you. He knew that this was a bad
He
movie,
absolutely
so-
was. So we agreed, I told him that from now on, we'll just spend Friday the 13th and St. Patrick's Day separate. Those will be alone days. So that we can each watch our respected shows without ruining each other's
Other
lives.
things to watch, then.
There are other things to watch.
You know, like Friday the 13th Part 4. You know?
I've never gotten that far down in the
You
line.
should.
I like the
They
first
get crazy
one a lot.
and cool. Like,
yeah.
okay, now we're going back to, like, well, hey, this is kind of related. Well, not really.
Just
Well,
say it.
what I'm saying is, like, the script writing, if I'm going to try to relate it to what we're doing right now,
Yeah.
for the, you know, sequel movies of Friday the 13th franchise, they just get pretty redonkulous, you know, in order to up the ante. Because that's what you do for slashers.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Is that a sin? Or is that just
Is
like, we have
bad writing in general a sin? I don't know. Like, I like the first Scream movie, and I actually I'm not proud of this, but I did like the newest one, the one with Emma Roberts in it.
That one's fine.
I thought that one was good.
Yeah.
But yeah, the ones
I like
in
the
between,
series.
not so much. I loved the
The
series.
series is good.
Yeah, well, I loved the first season of the series. I do think that things kind of went a little too
There's
chaotic.
a second season.
Oh, you haven't watched it? It's
Okay.
on Netflix. Go watch it. Go watch it, folks.
All right.
All right. Anyway, Scream fans. Okay, I pulled number 21.
21.
Back to the task at hand.
Yeah. You go.
Oh, you want me to read
Yep.
it?
You
All right. Okay.
21.
Cool. Hey, is this why you're letting me read this?
Oh,
Okay.
no, I don't know what number 21
Okay,
is.
21 long chunks of text. And then it is described as substantial paragraphs of action or dialogue aren't completely forbidden, but the reader's eye naturally skips over huge chunks. These big blocks of text indicate you're probably describing the action in a way too much detail. All right, whatever.
In a way too much detail.
I mean, it's not there, but remember, we only want the major beats. Cool. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I tried to avoid that.
Yeah.
Like, I understand that.
I know what the solution is so if you're writing like action description, I know that what we normally recommend is obviously like don't overstate things, but also add spacing, like space out your paragraphs so that it's not one big chunk. But with dialogue, yeesh, I don't really know. Like maybe break it up with actions, like, hey, in the middle of them talking, they're going to cross to the opposite side of the room and do such and such things so that they're not just talking and talking and talking and talking.
The first thing that I thought of was The Lighthouse.
Oh,
and,
me too. Yeah. I was just-
William Dafoe's entire monologue where he doesn't stop. Like, he doesn't even stop to take a breath.
Yeah.
So, but I think it works there.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it can be done in a stylistic choice of like, hey, as a reader of the script, specifically The Lighthouse, I'm reading that chunk of dialogue, that giant long chunk of Willem Dafoe's dialogue, and then that gives me a sense as a reader, like, oh gosh, he's ranting.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
especially with the
used
circumstance.
intentionally.
Yeah.
Yeah, we read a script for a client of ours a long time ago, and he had a lot of like long dialogue, but it was all kind of it was exposition-y, which was frustrating and exhausting. Was that your stomach?
That was my stomach.
That's terrifying.
I'm
that
sorry.
sounded like an
Muffins.
actual animal.
We still have muffins?
No,
don't know.
there are no muffins in there. I have tons of food though.
Ooh,
Sorry.
can we do a quick ASMR bit? You're welcome.
I like that.
Maybe we should just do an entire ASMR.
ASMR thing. Okay, sorry. So back to chunks. Yeah.
Wait, hold on.
Yes.
I don't want to be like crunching the whole time.
Whatever. Anyway, big chunks of any sort of text, right, in the script. It's just what shitty to look at, right? That's it.
Yeah, I
That's
think
all.
a lot of the script sins too, I feel like are more about writing like for the sake of the reader than necessarily the screen, right?
So this is not necessarily like a formatting issue. Like a script could do it, and depending on the reader, it doesn't really matter. Like you want your script to be easy to read, therefore,
Yeah.
like people will enjoy their read through of things. But
Well,
if you don't do it, it's like,
yeah.
well, the reader, if it was their job, they would just still read it, right?
Yeah. I think that no, they don't. I actually think that's kind of the point of these articles that we took the script sins from is people who are hired by companies to read scripts to potentially like option, purchase, or anything of that effect. They read a ton of stuff all the time, and these are tips for here are things that we recommend you don't do because they don't read every script. And if they immediately notice that something is going to be like a hard read or a less enjoyable read, no, they aren't still going to read it. Like they will just dump your script.
So you're telling me
I'm
that
absolutely
they
telling
enjoy,
you.
like, let's say 99% of the script and the last page had just a chunk. For me, that's hard to believe.
I don't think that
I
that's
think
what
that's
the
subjective.
note is for, though. Like you're finding a very specific exception, which is most of the script's totally fine, and right at the end you fuck up. Like we're not talking about
Star
that.
Wars.
Whoa.
No comment. We're not talking about that. We're talking about people who start off right off the bat doing that. Like, if you have big chunks within the first page, I'll say it myself. Like, I am not interested in reading that script. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to look at it. I'm going to see that, immediately assume the worst, which is, like, because this is pretty standard, and you can't even pretend it's not. Like, how many times have you read a script that had big chunks and it was a complete mess of a script versus being actually really good?
I haven't encountered one yet.
I could think of one.
You haven't encountered one
That was really good and
had
giant
big chunks. Okay.
Not yet.
So you could see how that would warp your perception of giant chunks of text.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my point, is if I open up a script and I see giant chunks of text, more than likely I'm going to say, I'm not fucking reading this, and I don't really care. If the film we're referring to is supposed to be a mockumentary film, normally with documentaries, and I don't think this is the case with mockumentaries because those are still scripted.
Yeah.
But normally with documentaries, you don't have like a script, you have basically an outline that gives you guidelines of, this is the story we're kind of going for, these are the things we're going to try to capture, here are questions we need to ask, but you know that the story really is going to happen in the edit, right? And I think that this person we're referring to who was doing a mockumentary film, they thought they could do something like that, but that's not how mockumentaries work because, again, they're completely scripted. A mockumentary is still a narrative film that's done in a style to look like a documentary. So it should all be planned.
And seen.
Okay.
We like fell asleep there.
Yeah.
Leave that in. It's like, why is it quiet? Is it my player not working? Ha! Keeping you
Keeping you on
sharp.
your toes.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm just gonna keep playing devil's advocate with all of these. So, do you want to move
I have
on?
nothing else to say.
I mean,
Ashley, Graham, any experience with reading scripts with big chunks of text? Or?
Nope.
Mm-mm. I mean, I don't know. I think everyone has an experience of like looking at text and you're just like, nope, fuck this. So I think it's like pretty. Yeah, I don't know.
Have you ever said like, take it for granted, but you said take it for granted? Whatever. Keep going.
I thought we did this one, Similes.
Oh, I remember it being on the list, but I
Okay.
checked our stuff.
All right, number 3, Similes. Bogging down your script with ideas that can't be seen on camera can be difficult on the reader. Avoid the use of writing tools such as similes. As an example, Richard looks at the clock as if it were a ticking time bomb. Instead, should be Richard's eyes dart to the clock, his face riddled with anxiety.
I felt like I've seen that though being done. Well, whatever. It's
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I've seen people use similes. I've actually seen it and liked it
it's
several times.
I think this is
You know, it's funny. I think
Then
we say
take it
this
or leave
every
it.
single time.
Huh?
Of like, oh, well, I know I've done this, or, oh, so-and-so does this. Like, yeah, people still write it.
I think
Doesn't-
that I've seen it and hated it, but I've seen it and liked it. Like, sometimes I see it and I feel like you're dragging out the action description where it's unnecessary and you're not, like, again, you're talking about something we don't visually see, so it's totally irrelevant. But also, if I'm really into a script, like when we read Bloody Hook, like, I'm positive he used at least a simile somewhere in that
Do
script.
you remember a specific one?
I don't. But I just remember I was super into that script. It was really well written. And then when those things happened, like, it didn't bother me because it felt like reading a book. Like, I was just enjoying it. I was riveted by the story, and I didn't care that he used that. But sometimes it's like, it can catch you off guard if it feels out of place.
Darn, if only there was another example.
I don't know. I mean, we may very well find them as we're continuing to do our Before the Scene episodes and reading
Oh, yeah, true that.
these
Stay
major
tuned.
scripts. Yeah, stay tuned for more Before the Scene scripts. Yeah, and I also feel like, Nero, you at one point were reading the script for Moonlight, I'm pretty sure, and I think that at one point in the action description in that, they used a simile because we were talking about how a lot of the writing in that screenplay broke. You know, a lot of the rules that we're told we're not supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
So the trick is be a good writer, and you can get away with anything. And if you're a bad writer, you can't. So know your place.
Bum, bum, bum,
Damn.
bum. The more you know.
Yeah. I don't know. I think these are all good guidelines for beginners.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just need to keep that mindset.
I think that's exactly what we said the last time. I mean, it's fine. Or at least the first time I was in this. Last time I wasn't. So I don't know what the hell you guys said.
Any experience with reading scripts with similes?
Nope. The only scripts I read are yours and Nero's. So
Yeah, that's actually kind of true. And whatever.
yeah.
Oh my
I
god.
think I've used similes in scripts before.
I think I've done it.
Yeah.
I've definitely done it.
Yeah. I don't know if it was good, but I've definitely done it.
When I was writing, I thought it was good.
Yeah,
Like,
right?
oh, he's so clever.
That's how writing always is, though.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
Well,
brilliant, and then the third time you read it, you're like, this is trash.
Oh, such a fool.
Why do people read this?
Number 22. Much of the information is impossible to actually show on the screen. It's okay to include a bit of background in the character descriptions. A bit of background in the character descriptions, but include too much and it looks like you don't understand film. It's a visual medium. Visual was all caps. A lot of your backstory, perhaps all of it, can be filled in by the director and actors. Don't put visual information in the action descriptions. Instead, save that space for actual actions. Yeah.
You know
Read
how,
that.
like, you read that when it's in all caps, you read it a certain way?
Mm-hmm.
For italicized,
Mm-hmm.
should you, like, speak in an Italian accent?
Oh my gosh. Well, if there was an italicized, sure.
Okay.
But I don't see one on
All
this
right.
sheet.
Deal.
Deal.
All right. Is there a way to shorten that description of what you just read?
I think it's just more along the lines of, like, show it, don't tell it,
Well,
in a way.
it's a backstory thing, too. Like, they do specifically call out people for, again, like, if when your character first enters, you start using giving a bunch of information about them that you can't visually see. I mean, that drives me fucking nuts. Like, I
feel
hate
like
that.
this is, sorry to interrupt.
No, it's
I feel like
good.
this is like a common thing for beginners, like when they're starting out writing. It's just we're so used to writing like that. I guess
Yeah.
when it's not scripts.
You also get so attached to your characters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you get less attached. The more you've been writing, the more you're like, it's not even mine. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is going to be the directors or the actors anyway, so.
Would an example be when we're first being introduced to a character named Clark, and you're like, Clark entered the room, 38, loose cannon,
Yeah.
you know, when you're like loose cannon agent or something like that.
Yeah.
Is that what that's kind of?
So yeah, so things that aren't visual like that. Like, okay, for instance, like Clark walks in, an air of confidence. He's a loose cannon cop on the edge, and he's
He
looking
hates-
to get into trouble. And it's like, well, how do we know he's
His
looking to get
mother
into
just died
trouble?
last week.
Yeah, his
Oh
mother-
my
yeah,
God.
I hate when they do that.
Therefore, he's very
I've had
upset
that
when he
like
walked in the
tragic
room.
backstory written into action description. It's like, well, now
He
I don't
hates-
care.
He
like,
hates broccoli.
like you kind of want to bury the lead in a sense. Like if it's stuff that could come up or could motivate your character, and we can reveal it in a way later, then great. And if it doesn't need to be revealed, that's okay. Like we don't need to know everything about the character as a person. We just need enough to care about them.
Now, a time and place for that. Aren't there things called like character sheets or whatever?
Character
Where you-
bios.
Yeah, the bios where you can write that kind of shit down.
I highly recommend, especially for beginner writers, but I honestly think with every character I've written, I could do like a short survey on like who they are as a person, what's their history, what are their likes and dislikes, what are their habits.
But that's more how they react to stuff than what they actually
Exactly. Like you don't put that in your script.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just helps you to understand how would they speak, especially when you're writing characters which this is common, or it should be common, when you're writing characters who aren't really like yourself. Like you have to understand their perspective so that you can better think, okay, what would they say in this situation? Because it's not what I would say, but I have to think like them. So it should help you write better dialogue, but it's not information you should actually be putting into your script or revealing to the audience. Because, I mean, I don't think anyone really cares what your character's favorite color is or if they have a weird, fun hobby. Like, it's irrelevant to the plot.
But that makes them relate more. I don't know.
Again, it depends on the plot. If the plot revolves around your character's weird hobby, then, steer into that. But then, again, there will still be things about them that we don't need to know. And then a lot of stuff, like, you as a writer fill out a character bio, but then the actor will do the same thing, right? Like, or at least in the acting classes I've taken, we do character bios, but they're a little different, right? Like, now we care about their physicality. Like, what part of the body does my character lead with when they're walking? Because that says a lot about who they are as a person, how they feel about themselves.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to think too hard about how I walk.
Yeah. Do they have any tics? Like, is there something that they do that's habitual with their, hand or face or...
Now that can be explored in a script, just naturally though, not just immediately right after you state the character's name and then just go at it. Right?
I mean,
that's a gist of it.
It can, but again, that's when we get into the whole whose job is it thing. You know what I mean? Like, as a writer, you're not supposed to provide so much that it imposes on the other creatives involved in the process.
Well, then they can just change it,
they
anyway,
can.
Or just use that as a source material. It's like, oh, well, this dude's walking in a limp, and that's the only thing stated. I'm gonna play with that. The limp is because it's...
If the limp is relevant, then you have to write it in. Like, if the limp comes up or serves a purpose in the story. If it doesn't come up or serve a purpose in the story and you just made a decision that, okay, this character's quirky and they have a limp, that is really less so the job of the writer. But if it's they're limping because they can't walk great, and later in the scene someone comes in and steals something from them and runs away and they're not able to chase after them because they have a limp, then it's relevant.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
This podcast is brought to you by Arizona Studios. Arizona Studios, a full-service video content specialist. We're here to illuminate your message and compel your audience to take the right action. For more information, head to our website at arizonastudios.com and be sure to tune in for more content on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
No, all I've seen in the past were character background and agency stuff, like who they're with and everything, rather than we finding out via dialogue or other context, like he has an ID card or whatever.
Mm. Yeah, I think a lot of people miss out on utilizing things that can be environmental and visible. Like if you want to establish, one time I read a script and they wrote Catherine is a businesswoman with confidence. It's or you could have said Catherine is wearing a suit and she stands tall and is strutting in a nice sleek pair of heels.
Sounds badass.
Interior business room.
Yeah, exactly. Right, business room.
I wonder, is this a businesswoman that's in this business room?
Yeah. I think in the scene I was reading, she was in a car, so it was the context was off, so we didn't know how. But when I read it, I was like, how do we know she's a businesswoman? What do I see that tells me that?
She has a tie.
Yeah, exactly. Is she wearing a tie in this scene? What's going on?
And red lipstick.
The actual action of the scene is unclear. Choreography is important. The reader wants to get a sense of what the film is going to look like, at least for the key beats. So make sure the action is described as it happens, not after the fact. In this case, describe Sam washing her hands right when she does so. Part of the reason the action is unclear is that we have no sense of the physical space we're in. What does the kitchen look like? We don't need a blueprint, but a one-sentence description would help the reader understand and visualize the scene. In this case, the window, sink, and layout of the room should have been mentioned earlier in the scene, so that they didn't just materialize out of blue when they were needed for the action.
You don't have a pocket sink?
Yeah. So,
Especially nowadays.
so in summary,
So like interior home, night,
Kitchen.
whatever. Well,
Yeah.
no, you just say home, and then in there it's like
yeah.
Ashley was washing her hands. I was like,
But where am
Where,
I?
yeah.
like
Am I in
Or
the
even
bathroom?
like in an
I don't know,
action
at her
scene.
table or something.
Like in an action scene when there's choreography, like interior bedroom, like I'm trying to come up with a
Ooh.
name. I got lost on the name.
So they're getting lost
Yeah.
because what are they doing action oriented in
yeah,
the bedroom?
yeah. Oh. No, I was gonna say like Eric trips over the couch and falls, and
You have a couch in your bedroom?
I don't know, man.
Damn,
It could be a big room. God damn it, guys.
Sorry.
It's irrelevant. My point is when actions happen and we don't know where in the environment they happen, so it's like
That makes sense.
I don't know how that affects the other people there.
Do you think it, like on subject, is it good to like describe the room first with each scene? Like, so interior, bedroom,
Maybe just a little.
I think it
whatever,
also
and then like the first bit of scene description is literally a bedroom is a bed. There's a bed, blah blah blah. There's a table by the bed, and then go into what happens.
I mean, I guess if there's something that's not typically in a bedroom, like a couch, maybe. I don't know. Not to,
I'm sorry. I guess you've never been in a larger bedroom before.
Ooh, damn!
I have not.
It's like a personal problem.
I'm sorry, I don't have any sort of income that would have that.
You don't have a jacuzzi in your bedroom?
Yeah, you're right.
Bedroom.
Peon.
Interior bedroom night.
Anyway.
Dave trips into the.
No, I don't have that luxury.
Anyway,
I want to use David because he would trip.
David, that's like
into
your
a
default
jacuzzi.
name.
Yeah. Our David.
I don't think that, and it even says that in the rule, like it's like you don't want a blueprint, like you don't want to be super specific about everything, but I do think that you need to establish the things that could interact with the characters or that they are going to interact with,
Yeah.
especially if there's, again, going to be choreography. Like if you have an action fight scene and people are going to be moving around the space and using elements in the space.
Like a knife or something.
Yeah,
on
like
the
people
table.
need to know before you get there, oh, by the way, this is here.
Like, David, interior bedroom, the bed is at one side of the room while on the other there's a dresser and something. But then later on,
Yeah.
David is attacked by someone and he smashes the intruder's head on the dresser. It's like, okay, well, we already knew that the dresser was in there.
Was there. Yeah. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
For sure. We're working on a project right now. It's called Marriage in the First Degree. And at the beginning of the script, we see a bunch of moving boxes and that there's some home, like, tools sitting out and there's a crowbar among the things. And later in the script, the crowbar comes back up. But the point is that it wouldn't have made sense if we didn't establish that it was there. Then it would feel really random.
How did you list out on your script?
What do you mean?
The describing that there are boxes and there's also a crowbar somewhere.
At the very beginning. So
No.
it's
Like, give me word for word what you put down if you can remember.
I
I guess
I've
not.
memorized all the scripts I've ever written,
Hey.
line for line.
Maybe.
I don't have a photographic memory. I
Well,
can pull it
I
up.
have more faith in you
Is
than
it-
yourself.
Is it kind of like, I don't know the husband's name, but
Freddie.
Freddie. Freddie brings in a box from the garage. It has miscellaneous tools like a hammer and crowbar. Like,
That's not what happens, but yeah, something like that would work in the
Okay.
context.
I
of what
want
we're
to. I want to
talking
know
about.
what she wrote. Anyway,
I
did
can't.
you find it?
I couldn't pull
You
it.
gotta
I
find
can't
it?
pull. No, I mean I have it on the Trello. It's just that my internet connection to the Trello from my phone isn't working. So
Darn.
I can't,
Oh, wait.
I can't pull it up.
Okay.
Yeah, like it won't let me open it.
Ah,
so
lame.
I can't do anything about
Okay.
that right now.
Darn.
Sorry.
Okay. Where I was going with that is like when you do bring up that there's miscellaneous items. I hope that you listed a couple more stuff besides a crowbar. right?
I don't know that I did.
Power drill.
Because it's
No,
like
I think I probably
crowbar?
said.
Crowbar. It's like
I
an
think I
item
s-
to pay attention to rather than a surprise.
Yeah.
Well, it is though. But I think I said there's miscellaneous like tools sitting out, including a crowbar or something to that effect.
You said including a crowbar?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Nero.
If I was to give an opinion, you know what? No, fuck it.
I was gonna say,
No,
she-
please go ahead.
Oh.
Criticize the script. We've already moved forward on.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
Nah.
Is this where we break up?
Yeah. Right. The band.
No, it's on. It's
No,
on,
I'm good.
It's recorded. No.
Unless I was given permission.
You didn't ask permission.
You
Yeah.
didn't
That's
ask
why I'm
for-
not going. I'm not,
Okay.
not moving forward.
Anyway, the point is that it's okay to establish a scene. It's recommended to establish a scene. I mean, one, because that's typically how you'd film it anyway, right? Like when we enter a sequence, you want to establish the environment first, especially if there's going to be major choreography. But then also in your writing, you need to do the same so that people understand the environment you're working with.
I mean,
Right.
yes.
Anybody else got anything to add on that?
No.
Are you going to be salty all
No.
day? Saying it louder definitely makes it seem less salty.
No, I'm not.
He's just salty at the Cheetos.
Yeah.
So much MSG.
MSG and Cheetos?
Yeah, MSG is in all snacks.
Unnecessary parentheticals.
Go ahead, Ashley.
Oh. Oops. Does someone else want to do it?
No, you got it.
You go.
No. Okay, fine. Unnecessary parentheticals. Don't give actors line readings or tell the director what to do, unless it's absolutely vital to understand the meaning of the line. In this case, there's no particular reason this line needs to be read. Mysteriously. Sorry, I did that wrong. Mysteriously.
They can't see your hand quotes.
I did quotations on that second part. Okay. In fact, that interpretation just adds more confusion. See, just like I did there. Confusion. Remember, no one likes being told how to do their job.
Ugh, emphasize that.
Emphasize.
Emphasize that.
Yeah, I think those are pretty unnecessary. Definitely.
Would it be like weird if we're just like agreed, and then move on?
Yeah, right.
Do we need activate devil's advocate?
I don't know why you have to do that.
Well, I mean, then agreed. Then I'm good.
Well, I mean, do you have a rebuttal about it?
I'm trying,
Yeah.
just to make conversation.
Make conversation.
Unless we want to just read these and then be done with it.
I hate it when people use parentheticals for action description. You know what I mean? Like when they put in a parenthetical, like he leans forward or something to that effect. Like physical actions.
Goodness, I've never seen that.
I've seen that a lot. And it drives me bonkers.
I'm
If
trying
it's
to
something
think
they
of-
physically do, it doesn't go in a parenthetical. Parentheticals should be notes for the tone in which it's delivered, if relevant. Like if they're saying it and they're saying it sarcastically.
Or whispering?
Or,
I'm
or
gonna say
hushed or
like
whispered.
whisper.
Or
Okay.
even like if they're chuckling or laughing or something. I've done that before. Like if they're doing a physical vocal action that changes the way they're saying it.
So then what would be okay, so unless vital understanding the meaning of the line, in this case there's no particular reason the line needs to be read mysteriously. So like if someone said, I'm going to the car, like, but in that way,
What way
It
was
being-
that?
like
What was
the,
that?
in the tone.
Was that you being mysterious?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh no, maybe I'm reading
I think
this
that the
wrong.
point is it's up to the actor to decide how they're, and the director, how it's going to be delivered is the point.
Okay, how about relevant to the script itself, where the dialogue, the next bit of dialogue, has to be done in an impression, like Christopher Walken, like
Yeah.
Oh.
in Christopher Walken cadence, and then dialogue. Would that be in parentheses?
Yeah, I think so.
I
'Cause
need
it's
to
a
go to
vocal
the
note.
car
Yeah.
real quick.
Or when in Scream 1,
Okay.
where the one dude is kind of giving out the rules while they're at a party. It's like, all right,
Oh,
don't
yeah.
ever say I'll be
right
right back. And then the one dude's like, hey, you want a beer? It's like, no, I'm good. All right,
All right,
well,
I'll be right
right
back.
back. And then would that have been in parentheses, like that delivery? Because
No.
he's mocking the rule.
No,
That was
because
stated.
that sounds like you're just okay.
Mm.
You could. I
You
think
could.
that the reader would have to be stupid to require that. Like, I'm pretty sure your actor reads that and knows he's intentionally saying it right after this guy just said not to do that. It should be read as it's a joke. It's a bit.
But if it
Or
didn't,
I'm gonna
Even-
put the parentheses because I'm gonna assume because you said like if people were stupid, or
Yeah.
like.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a personal issue. I don't
Yeah.
see how that's like.
Well, I'm just saying. That's what I would do.
I mean
But I also think that it doesn't have to be read that way, right? Like the context of the scene could have been the guy was coming from a different room, didn't hear him say, I'll be right back. And then when he walks in and he says it, it's funny to the audience because we know that's a no-no, but the guy who just said it doesn't.
right.
But regarding Scream the movie and how it was delivered.
Yeah.
He was
but I think
definitely
that's a
in the room.
directorial choice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I don't think that's a writer's choice. I guess is my
It's
point.
not a writer's choice.
No. Like,
What?
Well,
the
because
director
when
can choose
to change it.
to have that delivered in the way he had it delivered and also sets the blocking. So
Sure.
Okay. I mean, that's like, if, okay, I guess this doesn't, never mind. I'm not going to say it because it doesn't apply.
do you just want to say it so that you get it off your chest and then we can decide if it applied or not?
Well, no, it's because I was about to make a mention of the shoot we just did. But Nero wrote and directed, so it doesn't
Yeah.
apply. So,
Yeah.
anyway.
Did the director of Scream write it too?
I have no idea.
I feel like he
The first
did.
one? Who knows, maybe.
Give me a
I'm willing to bet he did.
I don't think that's really the point.
I know,
though,
it's
right?
not the point. I'm just wondering now.
Has anyone seen Agent Cody Banks?
No. They're,
Oh
they're
my
not
God.
the same person. Wes Craven directed, but the writer's name was Kevin Williamson.
Wait, what does Agent Cody Banks have to do with it?
I just thought of it.
Oh, okay. I'm like, wait, what?
At random?
Well, I thought of it earlier when we were. Never mind.
I've seen
Never
it.
mind.
I've seen it once.
I have- yeah,
To
I've seen
answer
it
your question,
once.
I've seen it once.
Okay, good
Yeah.
to know.
Like back when it came out.
I'm surprised you've seen it, honestly.
Oh, yeah. I've seen a lot of movies.
You know, since movies exist, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm in the industry.
I'm just saying, I think Freddie Muniz, was that who it was?
Frankie?
No, Frankie.
Muniz.
Frankie Muniz.
Sorry, whatever. I think that was before Graham's time, right?
And
his
Hilary
popularity.
Duff. 2003. Woof. Yeah. They're,
Was there a relevance to the Cody Banks thing?
I thought of it earlier, and then it was silent, so I figured I'd bring it up.
Diffuse the silence.
Oh, wait, no, never mind. I thought that was part of the story. Or part of the plot to Agent Cody Banks. I saw Irish, and I thought, oh, hey, there's a different movie you can watch. For St. Patrick's Day.
There's
But it's-
plenty of other Irish movies you can watch. Have you seen Brooklyn yet?
No.
That's a good one.
I mean, I just to be clear, I didn't think I needed to go out of my way to watch a movie about Irish people on St. Patrick's Day.
You know what a good Irish movie is?
Oh my god.
The Luck of the Irish.
Yeah.
Did you guys
Disney
watch
Channel
Filth?
original movie.
Huh?
Filth?
Oh yeah, I've watched that
Yeah,
one
yeah.
with James McAvoy.
Is it dirty?
Yeah.
They're dirty parts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is he supposed to be a cop?
Is he?
Well, he
I
definitely
feel like the
isn't.
parts I remember aren't very cop-like, but
Oh, he's corrupted as fuck, though.
yeah,
Anyway.
yeah, I think you're
Uh-oh.
right.
Are we gonna? Is this the end? Or are we still
Well,
going?
James McAvoy is Scottish.
Dude, I have no idea.
I don't know.
Anyway, he's
Did
Scottish.
you know that Hugh Jackman is Australian?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Ryan Reynolds is Canadian.
What? Oh my god! I don't think I could take any more of these surprises.
Does anyone have anything to say about parentheticals?
I think we've gone away from that. Are we doing one more? Or
Don't use the parentheticals that are unnecessary.
yeah, there you go.
That's all I have to say.
Thanks, Graham.
Moving on.
Moving on.
All right. I'm not a fan of this episode.
I'm not either.
Well,
We'll deliver. We'll be back with a better
Guys.
energy next
Yeah.
episode.
no,
Yeah,
we
right.
don't know how this is gonna be
The
edited.
coronavirus is going on. We're all
Actually, yeah.
like
should
really
we,
shouldn't even be doing this right now.
should
Probably.
we address that, or did we just date this episode?
I mean, we just did.
Well, that's okay. Aren't all of our episodes dated anyway?
Probably, but it's just more of
Time is relevant. Okay.
some would argue against that, but you know.
No, it's relevant.
Yeah.
I would argue that time is relevant.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. No matter what. Even if time
I
didn't
think it's
exist.
okay if people know that this. Come on, like they know a podcast is recorded at a certain point in time.
Oh, I just meant like
In general,
time is relevant.
relevant.
Yeah, no, people got really, really upset at the BA Test Kitchen YouTube channel because people were okay. They did this episode in January, like mid-January maybe,
Yeah.
and the coronavirus wasn't really a thing yet,
Yeah.
and they made cocktails, and one of them was a big pineapple, and there was 4 straws, and everyone was taking sips
From the same one.
from the same pineapple.
Okay,
And
that's how it started.
the next
That's right. Yeah, that's what caused the virus.
the next day they changed the thumbnail and they took out the intro part, the intro clip.
I call bullshit. I
Of
think
it.
that's stupid.
I know. Well, and then people were like, "Oh my god, you shouldn't be filming that because the virus, that's how it spreads." And it's like, are you freaking kidding me? This was shot months ago,
Yeah.
but people just
I mean, that's how it works, right? Like, I don't listen to any creators who, like, shoot and release, like, same day or next day.
Casey
Yeah, but-
tried
yeah.
for a while.
It's
For a bit.
exhausting, though.
And then, well, and that's just it. Like,
Marriage
you
of
get
suffering.
you get exhausted.
Yeah.
But that's to my point of people. There are some people out there.
Okay, well, audience,
That-
we don't want you to be ignorant, so listen here.
You know, I think
These are
David does.
pre-recorded.
If
And
you
we're about
count-
to die in quarantine.
Yeah,
without food.
So we wanted to do this for you before we go.
No, Nero.
Oh God, it's happening! Oh
my God,
Oh God! Why are you laughing? He just died.
What are you talking about? You're talking right
No,
now.
that's Naro. Nero is on the ground right now. He's dead.
Convulsing.
But I'll take his place. Hello.
Oh, good. You
All right.
sound and look
You'll
just like
hear
him.
us next time, including our new friend Naro. Tune in for the next Script Sins Part 4. Bye.